When you are dealing with consecration, there are two dimensions to consecration. The first dimension to consecration is your consecration to God, because you must have a walk with God. The second dimension to consecration is to the requirements of your destiny. An engineer does not have the same consecration as a pilot. That's how it works. In the same vein, a prophet does not have the same consecration as a teacher. The consecration of a prophet may be worship and prayer. The consecration of a teacher is study. And so he's not just studying to have a relationship with God. He needs raw material in his spirit to be able to deliver his calling. And the same apply. If God is raising you as a leader from the church, you need to understand the laws of leadership. There's a consecration requirement. Your own consecration may not be praying for 10 hours every day, but you may need to understand the principles of courtesy. You may need to understand the principles of management. You must need to understand the principles of leadership. Because if you appear there without training, you will be a disaster and you will bring reproach to the church. And so there is one aspect of consecration that has to do with your walk with God. There must be another aspect of consecration that has to do with mastering the demand of your destiny. If you fail in these two consecrations, you will never rise. I'm telling you things that will never change until this world comes to an end. As still your consecration to God, there's a consecration for intimacy. And that has to do with purity. It has to do with reverence. It has to do with prayer, communicating with God, prayer and fasting. All of those consecrations are required to walk with God. They are intimacy-based consecration. The Bible says God is of a purer eyes. His eyes cannot behold iniquity. In 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 19, it said, the standard of God standeth sure. It said, therefore God knows them that are his. It said, they that name the name of the Lord must depart from iniquity. You cannot mix light with darkness. And so there is a rigid requirement of purity. There are many people trusting God to do something mighty in their life. They want to become leaders that will change the world. They want to be used mightily in the anointing, but their garments are stained. That you are able to hide it from men does not mean you can hide it from God. God sees what you are doing in the dark. And so if you want the power of God, if it's power of God, you want to lift you, there's a demand for purity. Go and study the life of Joseph. I read it already. The reason a nobody can become a somebody and nobody can do anything about it is because that nobody was keeping the demand of purity. The guy would have slept with Potiphar's wife. He would have ended up the head of all houseboys. Meanwhile, his destiny was to become prime minister in Egypt. The reason he journeyed that far was because he kept his purity. When he had the opportunity, he refused. Some of us here, the reason we are not yet falling is because we don't have opportunity.